sailors, Coach Chris here. Can't go sailing quite yet, so it's important that we keep learning. Why don't we talk about some ideas and concepts that'll help us reinforce and practice the stuff we've already learned so that when we can go out sailing, we'll be a little bit better prepared. To start, let's go over the safety position. Many times on the water you want to take a drink, maybe switch roles with the partner on board your boat, maybe you need to listen to the coach or grab a snack. In all of those times it's going to be really safe if you stop the boat or slow it down a whole lot, and if you can keep out of the way of the boom while doing that, that's even better. So the safety position lets us do that. It's an easy way to stop the boat or slow it down. Not all boats can stop. And while doing the safety position, we stay out of the way of the boom so we don't get hit. One of the best parts about the safety position is that after we're all done getting a drink of water, having a snack, listening to coach, it's easy to get sailing again right after. We're going to talk about a couple things today. We're going to review some concepts you should know before we start talking about the safety position. We're going to talk about how to get into the safety position, some common mistakes people make in getting there, how to get out of the safety position, and ways to practice when you're out on the water. First thing we want to remember is our points of sail. What direction is the boat traveling relative to where the wind is coming from? We're mostly going to talk about the upwind points of sail today, not the downwind points of sail. Specifically, we're going to talk about close hauled and close reach. Doesn't matter which tack we're on, starboard or port, we just want to remember that close hauled and close reach are going to be the important points of sail for this lesson. What makes a sailboat move is going to be very important to remember. It's our sails, right? The wind catches the sails and pulls or pushes the boat along. So if we want the boat to stop moving, we should probably make the sails stop working. Here's 3 diagrams. All these boats are about on the same point of sail, a little bit different with that yellow one, but the point that we're trying to make is that how much you pull in or let out your sails, the amount of trim that you add to your sails, affects how much power is in the boat and how fast the boat goes. So the blue boat has their sails pulled all the way in. I can tell because the boom there is inside the boat. It's not over the outside of the boat or all the way out. You can see in this diagram, the yellow boat has its sails flopping around like a flag. We call that flogging. It means sails are flopping around without any resistance. In the middle is luffing. We might have that boat, you might see that the front edge of the sail is beginning to bubble or billow. We call that luffing. So, 3 easy steps to get into the safety position. Number 1, sail upwind on a close hauled or a close reach point of sail. Remember, upwind on a close hauled or a close reach. If you try to do a beam reach or a broad reach or even a run, you're not going to be able to do this technique. Step 1, sail upwind on a close hauled or a close reach point of sail. Step 2, ease your sails out all the way until they flap around like a flag. My pro tip is that in light wind, the power of the wind is not going to be enough to push the boom out by itself, so you might need to take your hand and push that boom out on your own. You might have to ask your crew to do it if you're in a double-handed boat. Step 3, turn downwind to a close reach but no further. Remember, if you go too far to a beam reach or even further down than that, safety position is going to be impossible to do, so you're going to end up on a close reach. Let's take a look at these 3 steps one at a time. So step 1, sail upwind. We can see this boat is on a close hauled point of sail. She's got her sails pulled in all the way. Step 2, she's beginning to ease her sails out all the way. She's also turning a little bit at the same time. When you get really good, you can start combining these steps, easing and turning at the same time. To start, you can definitely just ease the sails first and then turn downwind. Not a lot. We can see that this boat is definitely not on a beam reach. They're still pointed pretty much upwind, but maybe not as much as a close hauled. We'd call that a close reach. Close up look at the boat. The sails are flogging, not being pulled in at all, and the boat's on a close reach. So some common mistakes that people take when getting to the safety position. The first one is the biggest, and it's what most people end up doing. Steering too low or too high. So we've been looking at the yellow boat for a little while. This boat's on a close reach. What if you steer too low and you get on a beam reach? I've told everybody so far that that doesn't work very well, but why? When you're on a beam reach, We can't let our sails out enough in order for them to start flogging. They might luff, but some part of them is probably still going to be working. On small boats, oftentimes it's the side stays or the shrouds that stop the sail from going all the way out. They'll make it so that the sail can't go out all the way. They'll keep catching wind and the boat won't slow down. On a beam reach, the sails will still be working even if you let them out all the way. How about if you steer too high? What's the problem with that? We call this stuck in irons. The sails are flogging, which is what we want, but the boom is right over our heads, which makes it a dangerous situation, not what we want in a safety position. The other big problem with being stuck in irons is it's difficult to get out. Our boat will stop being responsive to the tiller, and it can be hard to steer. The other common mistake is people don't let their sails out enough. Remember, the pro tip, if the wind doesn't pull the sails out enough on its own, you might have to push the boom or pull the sheet out with your hand to give it enough slack. If you've done both of those things, then making sure the sail's flogging and staying a little bit upwind, then your boat will probably come to a stop or at least slow down a whole lot. How to get out of the safety position. This was one of the reasons that we like this particular way to slow down, is the safety position makes it easy to get out of. Step 1, keep that tiller straight. We really don't want to turn the boat until the boat begins to move. Step 2, pull the sails in. Just like before, if we were trimmed and going fast and we wanted to slow down, we'd ease the sheet. Easing the sheet makes the sails begin to flog and the boat will slow down. So if we want to do the opposite and speed up, we're going to go from flogging to trimmed by pulling in on that sheet. Last but not least, ways that you can practice once you get out on the water. I want you to see, number 1, can you make the boat stop on all points of sail? We learned about how it can be pretty challenging if you're on a beam reach, but you should practice to see why that is. Always be careful of the boom over your head and do a little experimentation and see if you can make the boat stop on different points of sail. The other thing you can try is how quickly can you make the boat stop? Sail in a straight line on any given point of sail, like a close reach, and practice how quickly can you ease the sails and get the boat to stop. And then try trimming the sheets fast and see if you can get the boat to start going again. How quickly can you get the boat to stop and how quickly can you get the boat to start again? Compare with your neighbor and other folks who are taking sailing lessons with you. Who's fastest at getting the boat to stop and who's fastest at getting the boat to start up again? That's it, everybody. Give the safety position a try next time you're out there on the water, and good luck.